7 ways to get sober in 2023. So we're about halfway through January right now, and although we're into the new year, I think it's important to recognize that there's still a new year energy that we can tap into to get sober, accomplish goals, etc. So before we begin, like, comment, subscribe, and also all these tips I'm going to be talking about are going to be free for you to download in a PDF that will be linked down below. I'm going to talk about what we talk about today in greater detail so you can have it with you as the year goes on. So the first thing is going to be exercise. So I might sound like a broken record at this point. However, I think exercise is super important in any aspect of life, especially getting sober. Because there's a withdrawal period and often there's a lot of pain at the beginning, having something to go to that can give a natural high, a natural endorphin release, and just start making us feel better about ourselves on a day-to-day basis is going to be really important to stay motivated. And it's also going to help in so many other ways besides just getting sober. It's going to help in relationships, work, etc. And there's just a plethora of things that exercise is great for. So the second thing is going to be diet. And this is something I also talk about a lot on the channel, and the importance of eating well. This is going to help with mood, it's going to help with mental health, mental clarity, all the above. And again, you don't have to go 100% raw vegan here. We're talking about just implementing some healthier foods into your already existing diet. And over time, you're just going to notice you start to feel better, and you're not even going to want the unhealthy foods anymore. You might on an addictive level, and that's another topic for another day. However, in the sense of once you just start noticing that you feel better when you eat better, and I can only speak for myself, I guess. When I noticed that I felt better once I started eating better, I was so much more motivated to continue eating healthy and finding ways to eliminate those foods from my diet that were causing me pain. So diet is number 2. The third one, and those first 2 ones were a bit intense, so we're gonna get to calm down a little bit here. And that is going to be finding a fun hobby. And this can be anything from sports, can be simple as like knitting or doing crochet, anything that just helps you tap into that creative flow and kind of makes you forget about the outside world. And this is one of those healthy escapes, not one of the drug-induced escape my reality because it's miserable, I don't want to work on myself escapes. We're talking about a healthy one here. So for me, I play basketball, I go play pickup hoops at the gym. It's super, I just feel like I'm in a different world. I forget about work, I forget about maybe any relationship stress I'm going through, and I'm just there, present, getting a good workout in. I also like playing music, so that's a big one for me. So playing piano, guitar. I used to produce music, and occasionally I'll make a song again, so that's something that I really enjoy. And again, I just forget about any of the pain I'm going through in my day-to-day life. So this is really important at the beginning because the withdrawal period can be a bit of a grind. So having something to break that up and find some relief is going to be super huge and stay motivated in the long term. All right, so number 4, and this one requires a little bit of effort on your part. It's going to be a writing exercise. So I invite you to write down where you want to be in 3, 6, and 9 months, also a year. So this is going to be really helpful because it's going to help start setting out a timeline and a path for you to follow. So you can, in a sense, reach these checkpoints and kind of look back on your journey and be like, okay, I have made it so much farther than I was 3 months ago. Oh my gosh, 6 months has gone by. My life is so different. A year, that's insane. One is going to help you have goals to strive for, not to obsess about, just to have in the back of your mind, like, hey, I'm working towards something bigger than what is going on currently in my life. So that is very important. And second, it's going to help you stay accountable. So when you do want to relapse or go back to using, you can be like, oh yeah, I have these things I'm working towards, and relapsing is going to obviously prevent me from hitting those goals. So I like to look at recovery like a video game. I've talked about this analogy before. And in a sense, in video games, you hit checkpoints. And each time you hit a checkpoint, whenever you die, you go back to that checkpoint. Now this is real life, so if you die, you don't get to go back to where you were 3 months ago. However, looking at sobriety in the sense of a video game can be helpful in, 1, making it a little less intense and a little more fun. And 2, so that when you do hit those checkpoints, you can look back with some gratitude for how far you've come. So the next thing, and this is also going to be a writing exercise, I invite you to think about where you want to be in 5 years. Imagine your future self. And imagine that future self had not quit marijuana, drugs, alcohol, you name it, whatever addiction you're dealing with. And really think about what that future self would say and feel about that decision you're making not to get sober. Would that future self be happy for you? Would it be proud, or would it be very disappointed, feel a lot of regret, upset that you didn't take the plunge 5 years ago? And when I asked myself this question, a lot changed, because I realized, like, holy shit, I got sober when I was 22, and the prior 4 years were just a blur. I thought I was never gonna get older. I was gonna be young forever. I was in college, so I was partying all the time, and just the time flew by. And at 22, I'm like, holy shit, like, it feels like just yesterday where I was like, I have all the time in the world. And a lot of that time just went away. And here I am sitting with a bong in my hand with a joint, and I was like, my life's a mess. So that really was a wake-up call for me, because I had to think about, okay, another 4 or 5 years is gonna go by, whether I like it or not. And I don't wanna be sitting with that same feeling I'm feeling now of like, oh shit, I just wasted the last 5 years of my life just doing nonsense, just being a child. I can't even fathom how bad I'll feel if that happens. So that was really when I decided, okay, I'm gonna quit this addiction for good, these addictions for good, and spend this next time really focusing on myself, leveling up in a sense, getting better in all aspects of my life, so that when those 5 years come and go, I can be like, wow, I'm so happy I made that decision 5 years ago when I was sitting on my bed in my tiny little apartment. And I can feel proud for myself that I made that decision to get sober, to face my uncomfortability, to face my demons, and now I'm free from it. It's been over 6 years, and I'm speaking from experience here, I'm so happy that I did that. And gosh, I can't even imagine how unhappy I'd be right now if I hadn't taken that piece of advice and ran with it. So number 6 is gonna be getting a coach, a mentor, or a sponsor. I've also talked about this one a lot on the channel too. And this one is really important because doing it alone can be tough. Addiction is an isolating disease, and oftentimes the biggest obstacle is our own mind. Our own mind saying you should go back and use, like, this isn't worth it, no one's gonna understand you, etc. And oftentimes we're in a situation, and I'll speak for myself, where most of my friends were also still using. So it was very difficult to find people I could connect to that were supporting my mission and that could relate to what I was going through. Not that the people that I was hanging around with were wrong for not relating, they just didn't understand, and I don't expect them to, because I mean, honestly, when I was still using, and if someone came, one of my using buddies was like, hey, I'm getting sober, I'm not using anymore, I'd be like, what the fuck? Like, dude, we were just smoking 2 days ago, what are you talking about? And I would not have been very supportive, so I totally understand it. So finding people that do understand it is gonna be very important. And ways to do that are going to be getting a sponsor, like going into recovery support groups. And with that, you can get someone for free to mentor you and sponsor you. And basically they take you through the work. And usually what I found is I look for people that have a lot more years of experience than I do. With drugs and alcohol, for example, my first sponsor was 6 years clean at the time. My current sponsor has been clean from like sex addiction for about 20 plus years at this point. They've been in codependency groups, so they really have for years, so they have a really good understanding of all this. I think 10 years plus, now 11 years that they've been in codependency recovery. So I knew that this person is gonna have a lot of wisdom, and they've proven that they've done it. So I felt a lot of trust towards those two people. For coaching too, you can also hire people online. And so that's where I come in, where I have a one-on-one coaching program that you can apply for down below. You're gonna fill out an application, and from there, I'll reach out to you, we can have a little conversation and schedule a Zoom call where we'll sit down and kind of talk about where you wanna be and if I can be of assistance to you. So if that's something you are interested in, feel free to apply down below, and I look forward to potentially meeting you. Okay, so number 7 here is gonna be stay meditated, AKA meditation. And this one has been huge in just all areas of my development, besides recovery, in just kind of learning about myself, helping with work, helping with just stress and relationships, family, etc. It just has a plethora of benefits. And I started meditating 2 weeks before I got sober. So whether there's a correlation or causation there, who knows? However, it's kind of synchronistic, right? So I started meditating. I started doing laying down meditation, where I would just lay down for 10, 20 minutes, and whatever comes up, comes up. Try not to fight it. I don't have to be in this Zen-like state. I think, and I was talking about this with someone the other day, that in the modern day world of trying to get people hooked onto programs, selling stuff, there's like an image that's portrayed about meditation where it's usually someone who's really good looking, who's really in shape, and they're sitting on top of a mountain just like in perfect zen. And it's like, if you do meditation, this could be you. And that is not what I have found meditation to be at all. It's usually pretty awkward, like I'm in a weird body position, like my stomach's sticking out. It's not sexy. I'm often not in a very like hum state. And that's something that once I learned, I felt a lot more comfortable with meditation and just doing it and realizing that I don't have to be perfect at it. Even the people that do meditation for a living, the monks, the nuns, they can only sit still for a couple of minutes before their mind starts to spin. So it's unrealistic for someone that's never meditated in 20 plus years of living to just sit there and all of a sudden become enlightened. It's like, come on. So what I found meditation is essentially watching all the stuff just bubble up to the surface and learning how to not react to it. And also learning how and when a good time is to tap into that and work through some of those issues. So sometimes when I meditate, it's like a working meditation where there's this issue that's coming up and my mind's kind of processing through it, and then I'll have an insight like, oh, this is why I'm doing this behavior X, Y, or Z because of this experience when I was a child, just for an example. Other times I am in just a state of just calm and just really focusing on what's in front of me. Other times my mind's spinning and 20 minutes will go by and I'm like, wow, I just was thinking about nonsense. So it differs from day to day. Ultimately though, it's helped me kind of start to see my own behavior and my own ways of thinking and questioning whether these are sane or not. So especially when I was getting clean, it was like, okay, I'm having all these thoughts come up that I shouldn't quit, I should keep using, etc. Are these really thoughts that are from my deeper self, my true inner self? Or is this my mind just kind of going crazy? Is this my own ego trying to protect me and keep me from feeling any pain or discomfort? And it was that. So that was really helpful in kind of learning that behavior. It also does help you stay calm on a day-to-day basis. So when I do it in the morning, I go through the day a lot less stressed. So there is that component to it too. So that is definitely something that's going to help with just the withdrawal periods, starting to go through this difficulty, starting to go through some of the stress and finding new ways of living, because it can be stressful getting sober. So it's going to really help with that as well. Not just the inner workings, the inner self, etc. So what I recommend is doing 5 to 15 minutes of sitting meditation every day. If you're feeling brave, you can do 20 plus. I find that like 15 to 20, usually 20 is my sweet spot. I've worked up to that though. So, and some days I'm not going to hit that 20 minutes. Some days I'm going to hit 5 minutes. Sometimes I'm going to hit 10 minutes. And ultimately, some meditation is better than no meditation. So what I like to do as well is I like to do eyes open meditation. This is something I started doing a couple years ago, and it made a big difference. For the first few years, I did eyes closed meditation. What I found though is that when I was feeling stressed in the real world, it was difficult to find that serene place without closing my eyes. I was almost accustomed to finding that peace only when my eyes were closed. And when I'm driving on the highway and someone cuts me off, it's not a good idea to close my eyes and to try to get into a Zen-like state. So doing eyes open helped me stay present in a moment with stuff going on. So it's like when I'm talking to someone and I'm feeling anxious, I can almost just tap into meditation with my eyes being open, so they're not like, what the heck, dude? Why are you closing your eyes while I'm talking? This is weird. I can actually still like look at them and still be there with them while at the same time going into a peaceful place. So I really recommend eyes open meditation. It's helped me a lot more, I think, than eyes closed meditation. However, whatever works for you is what's going to work for you, and I support you no matter what. So with that guys, that's going to end the video for today. I appreciate you guys coming on the channel and checking out the video. A reminder that you can download the free PDF down below, and you can also apply for Sobriety 101 coaching. With that guys, have a great one, and talk to you soon. Peace.